Hi, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Cassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the Ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. Today, we're going to be doing a video on the square between Saturn and Uranus. This is Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. And this square I have been talking about a little bit in my daily readings. It is going to be prevalent throughout the year of 2021, and it's coming into 3 exact conjunctions throughout 2021. And if you guys were following last year, we were talking about this. We had that series of 3 conjunctions of Pluto and Jupiter that happened throughout 2020. So we can see this really interesting association with the 3s and these big events happening in 3s, which is, from an esoteric point of view, very interesting because 3 is the number of the Trinity. It's the mind, the body, and the spirit. It's a highly auspicious spiritual number. And so this is absolutely an initiation of sorts. This is an activation of sorts that we are experiencing. And this is going to be a little bit different from the activations that we had last year, because these 2 planets are not conjunct as Pluto and Jupiter were, but they're actually in a squaring position. And so squares are points of tension. And which means that this is going to be a bit of a tug of war as far as energy goes. There is going to be some friction involved. It's not going to be necessarily as flowing and just purely activating as these conjunctions were last year. This is an energy that's really going to be pushing us. It's really going to be testing us. It's really going to be showing us who we truly are so that we can embody more of our light. What's really interesting about this Uranus square Saturn energy is that Uranus and Saturn are both the co-rulers of Aquarius. Saturn was the ruler of Aquarius before Uranus was discovered. And so as we move into this age of Aquarius, it's really interesting to see how these 2 planets that represent the 2 aspects of Aquarian energy are sort of squaring each other and pushing each other to evolve. It's also really interesting to see that we have the progressive planet of Uranus in the stabilizing sign of Taurus, which is a much slower type of energy. Taurus is not a spontaneous type of energy. It's not that electric energy that Uranus embodies. It's a very grounding energy. So this is really grounding in Uranus's energy. And Uranus moved into the sign of Taurus in 2018 and will be there for many, many years to come. Uranus spends something like 10 years in a sign, 8 to 10 years. It's a long time. So this energy is going to be here for a while. And if you guys are interested, let me know. I can do a video on Uranus and Taurus in general. It's very interesting, but it's essentially about Uranus shaking up and having us to take a deeper look, evolving us when it comes to our value systems, when it comes to what's important to us, when it comes to finances, when it comes to self-love and self-appreciation, when it comes to, when we have the sign of Taurus, all of those physical things, our physical reality. But yes, so we have Uranus and Taurus, and then we have Saturn, which is more of that stable energy, is more of that responsible energy in the sign of Aquarius, which is that forward thinking, forward moving, evolving energy. And so each planet sort of out of its element in a sense and in the other element. And yes, Saturn to an extent is in its element because it was once the ruler of Aquarius. But I think we can see now that Uranus was discovered how much better that Uranian energy fits Aquarius. But Saturn does have some of that. It's that tone of social responsibility. It's that tone of understanding our role in the collective. It's that sense of needing to change things and shake up things in a lasting way, of really noticing and paying attention to what's not working and then helping it to evolve. That's what the Saturn energy, the Saturn ruling Aquarius energy is really about. It really embodies that fixed energy of Aquarius in that way of like that commitment. When Aquarius sees what's going on in the world and the role that they can play in helping to shift that, they feel that responsibility to do that. And so we're looking at that when it comes to our own responsibility, to our own evolution, and to the greater collective evolution. And we're really seeing, we're understanding, right? We can look at this sort of as Saturn being the old energy and a Uranus being the new energy. So really that's that conversation between the old and the new. When we look at, with this Saturn in Aquarius energy, what is working in my life and what is not working. And when we figure out what's not working, right, that Uranian energy comes in to help us remove that, to help us release that. Saturn is the energy of building. Uranus is the energy of dissipating. And like dissipating is a gentle word for that. Neptune would be more what I would call dissipating. It's the energy of breaking down. And so it's seeing what's working and building on that with that Saturn and Aquarius energy. And then with that Uranus and Taurus energy, seeing what's not working and dismantling that, releasing that so that we can move beyond. This is very much an energy that's calling us to move beyond and to really think bigger, to think with that Aquarian lens, right? Which is that innovation. It is that thinking outside the box. It is looking at the bigger collective picture and how we can influence that. How we can change that? What our role is that? It's really us understanding what our role is in that process, both in the collective vision and in our own personal lives. And then taking responsibility for that role with that Saturn energy and acting upon that. So it's a huge, huge, powerful energy. And we may be feeling, especially with these energies, both in fixed signs. Aquarius and Taurus are both fixed signs. And so that shaking up, that releasing, that evolving, that evolution energy, we may experience some resistance, especially with this aspect being a square, right? There may be tension, there may be resistance. I imagine us through 2021 going in and out of these waves of evolving and then expanding and then constricting, right? Of stepping into the newer, larger version of us and then possibly shrinking back a little bit. And we will see with these three major times that they meet up in the sky. And that's going to be the exact conjunction, or the exact square rather. See, I'm getting caught up in that 2020, the conjunction energy. The exact squares will happen on the 17th of this month, the 14th of June, and the 24th of December. But we're going to feel these energies all in the weeks surrounding. And so really this entire month we felt it. We're going to feel it through the entire month of June. And we're going to feel it through mid-December into the beginning of January 2022. But throughout this entire year as well, because they're not really too far from each other, even when they move out of that 90-degree angle, they're still within orb of each other for a large majority of this year. And so those are going to be like the major check-in points where the energy really intensifies. And it's like we look at, what have I been able to embody? What have I been able to change? What have I been able to release? And what still needs to be embodied more deeply? What still needs to be changed and released? They're like those check-in points along the journey when we have during this month, during June, during December. And like, so we can really pay attention this month to what's going on in our reality, because that's showing us some of these themes that are going to be coming up. It's all about liberating ourselves. It's all about learning to embody more of our light and then seeing how we can bring that light out into the collective dream. Right? And make that collective dream a collective reality. So it's really beautiful, big, bold, electrifying energy. We can expect a lot of the unexpected, right? Uranus is the unexpected. We can expect divine intervention at some points possibly, but it's really about us stepping into our divinity, right? We're looking at that blue lunar storm year, which will still be going until July, the end of July, right? Which is all about us being that change. So if we can notice what needs to change, what is wanting to shift, and we can allow that process and help to facilitate that process and be that catalyst, then we don't require divine intervention. We are the divine intervention. And that's one thing that we're learning more than anything else this year, is that we are that intervention. We are the ones that we've been waiting for, and really stepping up into that role. We're being called to really view who we truly are, to embrace who we truly are, to embrace our uniqueness, to embrace our individuality, that's what it means to embrace our light, right? To embrace all aspects of who we are and shine that out into the world. This is that first, we talked about it I forget what video it was, but we talked about how the beginning of the age of Aquarius is very much about, like, Aquarian energy first has to understand who it is. And then once Aquarius understands who it is, it can then branch that out into the greater whole and understand their purpose within the whole. Right? Because it is a collective energy, but it's also that energy of the self. And so this energy, the Saturn square Uranus energy, is really helping us to get to know who we are, to embrace and embody our light, our specific unique light, the way that we shine that light, right? It's sort of like the vision that I'm getting now is like, yes, we are all part of that original light, but we are like the filter and the lens through which that light shines out into the world through. And each one of us is going to filter that light a little bit differently. And that's what creates this beautiful prism of light. And this is our mission. This is why we're here. Source came to experience itself through our eyes. And so to have as varied an experience as possible, each one of us has to be varied. And that variance is what makes this universe, this multiverse, so beautiful and so fascinating and so complex. And so really calling upon our courage to step up and be who we truly are. And then, of course, to come into the roles that we are then led to play in this greater collective awakening, in this greater collective journey. I want to see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about here. No, I feel like that's really what it is. It's about us moving past our self-imposed boundaries and limitations, expanding beyond those, right? Saturn is that concrete energy, but in the sign of Aquarius, it is expanding beyond. Uranus is that energy that expands beyond, but it does that in the sign of Taurus in a very strategic way. I really like the way that Uranus is in Taurus and Saturn is in Aquarius, because they balance each other. They get to show each other. This is how they see that they both want the same thing. They're both in agreement. Right? Uranus wants change, but it wants that change and that evolution in a very visceral way, in a very material way, a real world way, a substantial, lasting way. And that's the same thing that Saturn in Aquarius wants. And so we can see that how these energies really complement each other because of the signs that they're in. And as a result, they're able to work together much more efficiently. As long as we allow them. It's our resistance to this process that's going to make it, that's where that charge and that friction comes in. If we can surrender to that process, surrender to this metamorphosis, this transformation, surrender to ourselves, really surrender to our own souls, then we are going to be able to navigate this with much more ease and grace. Clear. And if you guys want assistance with this, please reach out to me. All of my information is in the description box below. And so first two cards out, we have South Node and we have Mercury retrograde Re-Invention. And so we're reinventing ourselves. We're moving out of the past, right? This is that energy of shedding the past. We're seeing and viewing and understanding it, but we're not being dictated by it. This is actually really interesting that this is coming into my awareness now. I was having a fascinating conversation with my friend Tommy last night, I think it was, or yesterday sometime. And we were talking about the past, and we were talking about learning and internalizing the lessons of the past. And then it came to me, and I realized really what we're trying to do is unlearn the past. The past is what created all of our limitations. It created all of that programming that we're now getting ready to shed. So we really want to move away from the past completely. We have already internalized everything that we needed to gain. But if we spend too much time in our minds, right, Mercury's the mind, going over the past, we're still living there for one thing. And it's like we're still cementing in, like, one of the reasons, and this came up in the daily reading today too, which is really interesting, this like not letting the past dictate the present, is like a lot of our trauma, our wounding, all of that stuff, our old programming comes from our past. And so really what we do in the present is we unlearn the things that we learned in the past so we can open ourselves up to the future so that we can reinvent ourselves. Yeah. I really like that energy. So that definitely coming through. And then we have destiny. And that brings us closer to our destiny. That brings us closer and deeper into our life path. Yeah, so a lot of this destined energy, right? Uranus is known oftentimes as the divine intervention. And so very much we are being guided and supported towards moving towards our destiny, towards shedding all of the outdated aspects of ourselves, reinventing ourselves in our own eyes, right? Not in the eyes of others, in our own eyes. And this reinvention is actually bringing us closer to the truth of who we are. It's like we're shedding everything that we're not so that we can embody more of what we are. And what we are is light, right? What we are is love, and what we are is light. And we are a specific flavor of love and light. Each one of us is. There are billions of different flavors of love and light. And so it's like really perfecting our own personal flavor of that. Which then, of course, as we embody more of our light, more of our truth, more of our authenticity, that is our destiny. That leads us to our destiny. That that embodiment allows us destiny to take our hand and guide us down the path that is right for us. And then, of course, Jupiter return benefits. All of the abundance, all of the benefits, all of the blessings come pouring in to assist us in that process. And then we have the 4th house roots. And what I'm feeling for this is all of that childhood programming and stuff that is going to be coming up. This is us making peace with our past so that we can release it. If we still have these resentments, these frustrations with our past, we're not able to move beyond that energy. We're not able to release it because that creates an attachment. So really letting go of all of that attachment, the attachment to the old stories that we told ourselves about who we are, right? We want to release all of that. We want to let all of that go. And I'm also feeling with this 4th house card, there could be benefits and blessings coming in around the home as well. So whether this is people relocating, whether this is people finally settling down roots after a long time of not being able to do so. And this is also just feeling more rooted and secure within ourselves, right? And the understanding that home, if we are at home within ourselves, we're at home wherever we go. But some people may be settling into a physical home as well and really putting down the roots that they've been longing to put down. And definitely with this Cancer card coming out next to that, which does rule the 4th house, right? That energy coming through very strongly. A lot going on for people around the home and the family. A lot of blessings coming through there. I'm feeling like some people even starting families. That energy very prevalent. Just a lot of blessings. Whatever it is that you've been dreaming of. Whatever it is that you've been desiring. Right? What you want wants you. Your destiny is always whispering to you and seeking you out and waiting for you to align yourself with it. And so a lot of that energy and a lot of beautiful blessings coming in for people around that. Then we have the North Node, life's purpose, right? And part of fortune increase. Okay, so that's beautiful energy right there. We find our purpose, aligning with our purpose, right? Moving out of the old energy into the new energy. And as we find our purpose, we naturally begin to experience this increase because that's where our true abundance lies. When we are connected with our purpose, we feel abundant in spirit. And when we are abundant in spirit, we are abundant in all other areas of life as well. It's just abundance is a natural byproduct. And I'm also feeling like part of this process for some people is releasing the limitations that we placed around ourselves, the beliefs and stuff around our abundance and our ability to experience abundance, our ability to live and embody our life's purpose, to live and embody the energy that we're meant to embody in this lifetime. And if you guys want assistance with that, please reach out to me, like I said. But yeah, lots of increase and benefits and blessings coming in for us as we navigate this journey, as we allow ourselves to step more deeply into who we truly are, as we reinvent ourselves and we allow our lives to be reinvented as well. As our energy is reinvented, everything around us will ultimately shift and change as well, especially when we're talking Saturn and Uranus. Uranus in this earth sign of Taurus, right, which is very much about wealth, security, stability, all of that pleasure, all of that energy, right? And then Saturn, which is that physical, that planet that represents our physical structured reality, being in that sign of Aquarius and that forward moving sign. There's a lot of energy for anchoring in that abundance into our lives, into our realities. The anchoring in of the energy, right? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with this Saturn energy, with the Aquarius and this Uranus energy in the sign of Taurus. We're anchoring that in. We're stabilizing that in to our physical bodies, into our, and we do have the body on the bottom of the deck, to our physical realities, right? Yeah. We're sealing those energies in. And then the solar eclipse, Revolution. Yes. That's one of those questionable words that we may want to spell. Yeah, you guys, if you've been following my dailies, you understand what I'm doing. If not, it might seem a little weird, but just go with it. Yeah, so that's the energy, this R energy, this internal R that we're going through right now. As everything around us is revolutionized, right? As everything is reinvented, we are becoming a whole new version of embodiment, right? This solar eclipse, this is the energy of radical change. And so that is going to be coming, and that's that Uranian energy, right? That's going to be coming into our reality in so many different ways right now. Which is absolutely beautiful. I feel like after this year, and this has probably happened for a lot of us already, it's like we barely recognize who we were compared to last year. And that energy is just going to keep going. And so the best thing that we can do is just get comfortable not knowing who we are. As funny as that sounds, like as soon as we think we know who we are, that's an old story that we get locked into, and then we can't evolve past that point. So we want to get comfortable just learning and relearning who we are and why we're here, and just that allows everything to open up and unfold for us. And then yes, the sun spirit on the bottom of the deck. So 2 cards representing that sun, that consciousness, this evolution of our consciousness right now, of our perception of ourselves, of our spiritual energy. Just this huge influx, right? With the sun, this is light, this is illumination. And then we have Jupiter abundance under that with the lightning bolt, right? That illumination, that lightning bolt also makes me think of Uranus energy. And so really powerful enlightenment coming through for people. Enlightenment as we realize, and remember, enlightenment comes when we release everything that we think we know. That's when we're open to truly learning. And so just incredible enlightenment that brings with it so many blessings. And then the second house owning under that, which is that material realm. This is the house that Taurus rules. This is our finances. This is more like with the abundance and the second house energy. That's once again a big pairing of be open to the blessings. Notice what is coming up, what is being shown to you. Where are there limiting belief systems? Where is there anything that is preventing you from really stepping into and owning your abundance? That's stuff that we're going to want to pay attention to. And then the endings and beginnings, right? Yeah. Self, the partner, all of that. Everything in our lives should be continuing to shift and change as we do. And I'm going to pull, actually, I think, a couple cards from the Thoth Tarot. Clear. What guidance do you have for us? What can you tell us about this these Saturn-Uranus squares? Any guidance coming through for us from this deck? Ooh, this is the first time these cards are a little stiff here. First time I've played with these. I played with them very mildly when I was first opening them and checking them out. They're interesting because they're the size of regular playing cards and really the consistency of playing cards too. Any guidance for us? Okay. We have the Wheel of Fortune and we have the Queen of Swords coming out. And so the Queen of Swords, that is very Aquarian energy, right? Aquarius is an air sign. The Queen of Swords would absolutely represent Aquarian energy. And so this is the good fortune, the turning of the wheel, right? As we go into this next phase of our evolution. But in order to do that, we really want to firmly embody and stand behind our truth and who we are. This is about us, like our fortune, us being able to speak our truth, us being able to To know what we stand for and stand behind that is really going to determine the amount of abundance that's able to come to us. This is us being able to speak up when we need to. This is us being able to share our wisdom and our insights, and to really be in that energy of confidently removing anything that does not align with our path, right? The Queen of Swords, she is quick to cut out anything that does not resonate with her, anything she's not feeling. And so it's really our ability to do that, our ability to know what resonates with us and what doesn't, and to move ourselves into alignment, and to really just be in that and embodying that energy of not putting up with anybody's shit either, right? This is the energy of when we see that we're in an old cycle, we move ourselves out of that. When we see ourselves falling up into old patterns, we remove ourselves from that. We push ourselves forward instead, right? This is that energy of just really speaking our truth above all else, speaking our truth, standing by our truth, and not allowing any energies into our reality that are going to detract ourselves from our truth or our purpose. And then we have the Priestess coming out. So this is that energy of intuition. This is that energy of us merging with our higher selves, really utilizing our higher divination and insight in order to see what needs to stay and what needs to go, what needs to be spoken, and when and how to speak that. And really just operating from this more enlightened. This is a card of enlightenment, right? It can also be a card of mystery. So we'll see what else comes out. We'll see what else comes out here. We have the Three of Wands, Virtue. And we have the Princess of Discs coming out. Yeah, in the Thoth Tarot, they don't actually have any kings. They have princesses, they have princes, knights, and queens. And so the queen is the highest, she's the energy. So she would embody, I guess, both. The mastery, she embodies the mastery of those energies. So this is the mastery of the Swords energy with this Queen of Swords, right? The mastery of the Swords energy is the mastery of the mind. The mastery of the mind and the communication that then allows for our higher self to be able to come through, right? So that's also about us learning how to utilize our minds to our benefits, our logic to our benefit, and to merge that logic with the intuition with the High Priestess card, right? Which we were learning all through 2020. That was a big lesson, how to utilize the logic and the intuition. And then so with the Three of Wands, with Virtue, and the Princess of Discs, I'm feeling this... Excuse me. I'm feeling this is a very innocent energy, a very innocent, creative energy. So this is really the energy of tapping into the innocence of our inner child, the innocence of that part of us that views the world with that childlike state of wonder, and really moving from that place, and knowing and expecting that joy will come from that, living from that place of joy. From that place of also, with Virtue, right? It's like that place of integrity, that place of joyful integrity, and all of the abundance, right? This is the Princess of Discs, right? So we have that creative, passionate, spiritual energy with the wands, and then it's merging that, anchoring that, right? Because the pentacles are the earth energy, the stabilizing energy. So really stabilizing that creativity, stabilizing that innocence, stabilizing that integrity and that virtue, and then that really reaping rewards for us. And we have the Fool on the bottom of the deck here, right? That's that new beginning, that new cycle that we are starting here. Anything else? Any other guidance for these Uranus Saturn squares? Yes, we have the Seven of Wands, Valor. And then we have the Emperor. All right, so more of that energy of moving through our reality with integrity, with purpose, with intent, right? Of really standing up for what it is that we believe in, what we know is our truth. and not allowing other people to dictate what that means to us, right? The Emperor is cool, he is calm, he is collected, he is methodical, he knows what he wants and he goes after it with purpose. He is confident. So this is us stepping into our confidence regardless of what is reflected back to us in the outside of the world. This is finding that confidence center within us, that truth, that authenticity, that integrity within us, and living from that place. That's what that energy is all about. And there's going to be people reacting to this energy in a lot of different ways. Change can be scary, especially to people who don't understand what's happening and who are resistant. And remember, with the square energy, there is resistance present. And so there may be a lot of people who are, right, the old versus the new, who are wanting to cling on to the old, even as the old is being shaken out of their hands. And so if that is happening, like, there may be people who really don't want to hear what you have to say, who really don't understand your viewpoint. And so it's like standing in your integrity, in your energetic sovereignty, in your autonomy, and continuing to show up in your reality. And not allowing the other people's reality to influence your reality. Not allowing other people's truth to influence your truth. Yes, be open to all the different variations of truth. Be open to your truth constantly evolving. But this is about us living our truth and not somebody else's. That's what that energy is all about. Whew, okay. And then we have abundance, the Three of Cups, coming out with the Empress. So that's like double abundance right there. And the Fool. So that's like tripling the abundance, because this is two cards that represent two beginnings, two cards that represent abundance, all coming together. And then we have the Knight of Swords coming out with this as well. And so this is like swift, decisive action. And so there are going to be moments where we are being asked to take swift, decisive action, and to move towards our abundance, to move towards these new beginnings, to welcome these new opportunities as they come into our reality, and to take advantage of them. Spirit is saying, when opportunities come into your reality, take advantage of them. Pull it, move into that Emperor energy. Do not question yourself. Do not second guess yourself. Trust your gut, trust your instinct, right? Trust that divine guidance. Trust that joyful aspect of yourself, right? That childlike, and the childlike energy is an exploratory energy, right? So be explorative and act upon these opportunities and these beginnings when they're presented to you. Train yourself to recognize those opportunities for what they are, those new beginnings and blessings for what they are, and sieze them, right? Act upon them, really. And yeah, absolutely. Because there is so much abundance. There are so many new beginnings wanting to be birthed. So many creations wanting to be birthed into the world. This is like acting on our creative passions, right? Acting on our creative inspirations, especially with these cards, the way they got sat right below the Three of Wands with the Princess of Pentacles, right? This is like really acting upon that creativity and those little inspirations and opportunities for abundance that will probably be coming from everywhere, honestly. Yeah, and then on the bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant with the Sun card. All right? So this is like that spiritual wisdom that leads to complete bliss and happiness and joy, right? That is the happiest card in the deck, is the Sun card there. So I really like that energy with the Hierophant here of like this next level of our spiritual evolution, of our spiritual learning, unlocking all these blessings, right? And the Hierophant can be that learning process. So we may be undergoing another phase of study, of higher study, higher spiritual study that is going to bring us into more abundance. Higher study in whatever way that works for you. And then we have the Devil and the Lover. The Devil, the Lovers, and Lust all together under here. So that's all on the bottom of the deck. We're not going to get into that. Just look out for that. That may be something that we're working through as well, is some of our more base emotions and desires and sort of patterns around that. And so don't be seduced. All that glitters is not gold. So just being aware of that, and being aware of not letting our passions, like channeling our passions in appropriate directions so that we don't, could also be an evolution of our, I'm feeling this too is like, and the lust card is interestingly enough actually the strength card. The way the Thoth Tarot does it is some of them are different. So this is actually the strength card, even though it's called lust. But I'm feeling that as like learning how to channel our sexual energy into a higher form, into a form of creation, into a spiritual, like learning and understanding sex and connection as a spiritual act, and really utilizing that energy as well. It's like transmuting it from the lower vibration of that energy to the higher vibration of that energy. And so there may be challenges we may be noticing where we vibrate within that spectrum, where our relationships vibrate in that spectrum, and being asked to take that to a higher level, a higher, more spiritually refined level. Sex is really the most sacred spiritual act, but it's when we view it as such and when we understand its power. And as we begin to understand its power, then we begin to have almost a responsibility to utilize that power in a more constructive sense. And so that may be something that's coming up for people as well during all of this, is just the realization and the understanding of that, and the abilities to upgrade that energy. It also could be for some people partners coming back into our reality that challenge us to grow in these areas where we have to make decisions based upon what it is that we've learned. We have to call upon our inner strength, right, to overcome these old cycles. These old cycles in relationships, so that we can open up to more abundance and blessing. That's sort of another way to look at that energy. But all of this, really, it's like that's one of the lessons, right? Saturn is about responsibility. So during this process, in all of these different ways, we're being asked to take responsibility for our soul's evolution. And as we take that responsibility, right, we gain more power. We gain more spiritual power. But with great power comes great responsibility. So we're learning that, and we're learning how to work with those energies. All right. So I think that we are going to end the reading there. This was a pretty powerful reading. Lots of really intense, beautiful stuff. This reinvention energy. This all of the R's, right? All of this R energy. That's really springboarding us forwards in terms of our evolution if we allow it. Like I said, it may be like springing forward and then feeling like we're being pulled back, and then springing forward again because of the nature of this connection. But it's just allowing ourselves, what do we learn each time? Each time we move forward, and then if we do move back, we're learning something each time. And as long as we continue moving forward again, we're always going to get further than we were. All right, if you guys like this video, comment, share, subscribes, all that stuff really helps the channel to grow and these messages get out to more people. There are links down below to donate if you feel so moved to do so. My email is also down below with a description of all of the different services that I offer. So please reach out to me if you want help working through and making the best of any and all of these energies. Drop a comment. Let me know how this is resonating. Let me know how you enjoyed this video. Just to say hi. I love talking to you guys and interacting with you. You are the absolute highlight of my life. I don't know what I would do without all of you. I appreciate you so very, very incredibly much. And I will talk to you all soon.